The second before the beam came crashing down, I saw my wife, the one who told me she was on a business trip out of town. She was clutching a guy in her arms, rushing for the door at lightning speed. The guy's pale arm dangled at his side. On his wrist was a bracelet identical to mine. Sophia. I screamed her name with everything I had. She heard me and turned, just in time to watch the massive concrete pillar smash down on my head. I didn't miss the shock in her eyes or the burst of agony that followed. I was dead, killed in a sudden building collapse. When I opened my eyes again, I was floating above the rubble. Below me, Sophia was frantically digging through the bricks and debris. Her fingers were raw and bloody. The guy she'd shielded stood behind her now, reaching out to pull her away. She violently shook him off. Her eyes were bloodshot. Without a word, she heaved a huge chunk of concrete and rebar to the side. It left smeared red stains on the pale gray stone. The guy wouldn't give up. He tried to grab her again, his voice cracking with tears. "Sophia, please stop," he pleaded, tears streaming down his handsome face. He looked pitiful, I'll give him that. That face looked incredibly familiar. I tilted my head, studying him for a moment. The more I looked, the more he resembled the picture of her first love she used to keep tucked away in her wallet. Sophia didn't answer him. She just kept digging like a madwoman, repeating the same motion over and over. Finally, a bystander who couldn't take it anymore stepped in to pull her away. She thrashed wildly, trying to break free, her voice raw. "Let go of me. Let me go. My husband is still in there. I have to save my husband." As she screamed, a single bloody tear slid down her cheek. In the 3 years we were together, I'd never seen Sophia cry. When she was upset, she'd just chain smoke. She even quit that when we started trying for a baby. I wanted to wipe her tear away, but my hand passed right through her. Oh right, I forgot I was dead. I looked at my translucent arm, and the pain finally started to sink in. A pale hand took my place, gently wiping the tear from Sophia's cheek. Dust motes danced in the sunlight. The light glinting off the silver bracelet on his wrist was blinding. Oh right, I also forgot that Sophia had lied to me. The pain got worse. Sophia finally broke free and threw herself back at the rubble. Her long, elegant hands now a mangled mess of flesh and blood. I slowly crouched in front of her, frowning, trying to figure out how much of this deep devotion was real and how much was just for show. She saw that giant pillar come down with her own eyes. She had to know there was no way I survived. So who was this performance for? The search and rescue team arrived quickly and saved Sophia's hands. Good thing, too. It would have been a shame to ruin such beautiful hands. I was near the entrance when the pillar hit me, so I wasn't hard to dig out. It was just not a pretty sight. After a complete breakdown, Sophia finally accepted reality. I was dead. I had died right in front of her, just as she escaped with another man in her arms. Before she could even feel relieved, she had to watch me die. She calmly went through all the formalities, then went back to her usual routine, back to work. It was like nothing had changed. She was still the same cool, brilliant Sophia, always in control. The bag I was carrying when it happened? She locked it in a cabinet and never opened it. My death, it seemed, didn't affect her at all. That guy came looking for her a few times. I heard Sophia call him Ethan. I frowned, thinking for a long time before I finally remembered where I'd heard that name. Back when I first met Sophia, she got drunk once and kept mumbling a name, Ethan. So I wasn't mistaken. Sigh. My memory seems to be getting worse since my soul left my body. Sophia and I met on the darkest day of our lives. A few years ago, my parents signed up for a couple's tour package. The bus crashed. Of the 20-plus people on board, none survived. Sophia's parents were on that bus, too. We both became orphans at the exact same moment. I couldn't stand the memories, so I moved. By pure coincidence, she became my next-door neighbor. Our shared tragedy brought us close quickly. She couldn't cook and was a picky eater, so I started making enough for both of us. She was quiet and withdrawn, so I'd tell her about anything I found interesting, just to try and make her smile. I always felt that life had dealt us a bad enough hand, we had to find a way to make it a little sweeter. Speaking of a bad hand, I'm not sure if that describes Sophia now or not. On the one hand, everyone in her family is gone now, including the baby I never got to tell her about. But on the other hand, they say the three best things in life are getting a promotion, striking it rich, and your spouse kicking the bucket. She's hit the jackpot. Judging by how she's acting, I'd say she's not exactly happy about my death, but she's not sad either. I'm not resentful, just a little sad. I mean, I'm dead. What's the point of holding a grudge? As for wishing her happiness, well, I'm not that generous yet. I floated around after Sophia for a week. A week later, she collapsed with a fever that wouldn't break. She was out for a full day. When she woke up, it was like she'd completely forgotten I was dead. I watched her pull out her phone and start texting me. "What time are you coming home?" A few minutes later, another text. "Not feeling well. I'm craving some chicken noodle soup tonight. Come home early." Her messages were destined to go unanswered. Just as I was wondering what she was up to, she got impatient and called me. My phone was in the bag she'd locked away, its battery long dead. When she heard the automated voicemail message, Sophia just frowned, a little annoyed. As time went on, annoyance turned to worry. She started frantically texting me. "Why is your phone off? Where are you? I'll come pick you up. Text me back as soon as you see this. Honey, please just answer me. I'm so worried." By the end, her tone was practically begging. You have to understand, it was always me chasing her, texting to ask when she'd be home or what she wanted to eat. And her replies were always polite, but cold. The Sophia I knew was always reserved and composed. Even when we first got together, all she said was a simple, "Leo, from now on, it's just us." Back then, I really thought it would be. Who knew that while she was my whole world, I was just her second choice? Sophia sat stiffly in the living room all night. At one point, she went out and came back with 2 packs of cigarettes. The lighter clicked again and again, but the cigarette between her fingers never caught flame. She called my number every 10 minutes. With each recorded voicemail prompt, the anxiety in her eyes slowly turned to numbness. Just before dawn, she threw the cigarette away, buried her head in her hands, and sobbed uncontrollably. So, she did feel pain without me after all. After she cried, she sent one more text. "Leo, please don't disappear on me." The early morning sun streamed through the window, illuminating the slippers I'd left by the shoe rack near the door. Next to them, my large canvas tote, the one I used to bring Sophia lunch, hung from a hook. Everything was exactly as I had left it. Sophia hadn't slept all night. Dark circles were forming under her eyes. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. Her head shot up, her eyes lighting up like a dead tree sprouting new leaves. She sprang to her feet and rushed to open the door. "Leo!" Ethan's handsome smile froze on his face, his expression turning awkward. A moment later, he forced his lips back into a smile. He held up a paper bag, dangling it in front of a frowning Sophia. "It's me. I brought you some coffee and donuts. Eat them while they're hot." The charm on his bracelet swayed with the movement, catching Sophia's eye. Ethan followed her gaze down to his wrist. A playful smile touched his lips, his eyes testing her. "You're not just noticing this now, are you? We were at the mall the other day, and you said it looked good, so I bought it." I phantom touched my own wrist. I had the exact same bracelet. It was a birthday gift from Sophia 2 weeks ago. Couldn't believe it. She saw it on her ex while they were out shopping, thought it looked good on him, and then bought one for me. A prickly unease spread through my chest. If I had known from the start that Sophia wasn't over her last relationship, I never would have agreed to be with her. Sophia snapped back to reality, her expression hardening. "You should go," she said, her voice hoarse. "Leo wouldn't be happy if he knew you were here." "Sophia, what's wrong with you?" "Leo, Ethan probably wanted to say I was dead, but under Sophia's bloodshot glare, the words died in his throat. He struggled to keep the smile on his face, pushed the bag into her hands, and said softly, "Just eat your breakfast before it gets cold." "Oh, right, the reunion is the day after tomorrow. We planned this a while ago, so don't be late." Sophia had mentioned the reunion to me. I'd begged to go with her, but she said no +1s were allowed. Turns out it was because Ethan would be there. Was she afraid I'd get angry? Or was she afraid he'd get jealous? When did they even start talking again? Sophia nodded grimly and then shut the door in Ethan's face. She kept calling and texting me, frantic with worry, but she never called the police. I guess she hadn't forgotten I was dead after all. She just couldn't accept it. 2 days later, the reunion was held at a high-end club. As she was leaving, Sophia put on a new pantsuit I had just bought for her. She'd lost a lot of weight in just a few days. The suit, once a perfect fit, now hung loosely on her frame. She stood in front of the mirror, fussing with a silk scarf, but couldn't seem to tie it right. On instinct, she called out, "Leo, can you help me with this?" After she spoke, her hands fell still, her beautiful face clouded with despair. After we got married, I was always the one who fastened her necklaces. Now that she had to do it herself, she was clumsy. Right before she left, she sent me another text. "Class reunion tonight. I might be home late." Then she turned on the living room light. "I left a light on for you. Don't stay out too late. If I'm not home when you get back, wait for me. Don't wander off." Going to a party with her old flame while putting on a show of wifely devotion for me. I really couldn't figure her out. I floated after Sophia to the party and quickly realized it wasn't a reunion at all. It was a welcome home party for Ethan. When the accident happened, Sophia and I were both still in college. Our stories were eerily similar. Both our parents were gone, and our relatives all passed the buck. Eventually, we both lost contact with them. With no one to invite, we didn't need a reception. We just got our marriage license, went home, cooked a nice dinner, and that was that. So, I didn't know a single one of Sophia's classmates. As the drinks flowed, everyone started to loosen up. The man sitting next to Sophia clapped her on the shoulder with a hearty laugh. "You know, it was the great tragedy of Arden University that you and Ethan, our campus heartthrob, never made it work. But hey, now fate's corrected its course. You two can finally pick up where you left off." Sophia gently brushed his hand off her shoulder, her face stern. "I'm married," she said coolly. "But isn't your husband?" He was cut off by another guy at the table. "Hey, Frank, what are you doing? Let's not talk about that on such a happy occasion. Come on, drink up." The man called Frank realized his mistake and raised his glass with a sheepish grin. "Look at my big mouth. My bad, my bad. I'll take a shot to repent." Sophia didn't say anything, just kept drinking, one glass after another. She was a lightweight to begin with, and with her emotions running high, she was drunk in no time. She stood up, paid the bill, and said her goodbyes. "You guys have fun. I'm heading home." Ignoring their protests, she walked out. Ethan immediately pushed his chair back and ran after her. He reached out to steady Sophia, who was stumbling slightly, his handsome eyes full of concern. "You've had too much to drink. Let me take you home." Sophia looked up at him but said nothing. Once they were out of the private room, she pushed him away. "You can go back. I'll get an Uber." Ethan froze for a second but quickly recovered. He pressed his lips together, his voice dropping low with a hint of grievance. "Sophia, you have to know, I'm still in love with you." Sophia's brow furrowed. Her words were even, but if you listened closely, you could hear the impatience. "I'm married. I don't mind." Before Ethan could finish, Sophia cut him off. Her voice rose, thick with an anger she could no longer contain. "Well, I mind. When I was at my lowest, when I needed you more than anything, you broke up with me. Do you have any idea what I went through back then? It was Leo who took care of me, who comforted me. Ethan, I thought I made it clear. The moment you gave up on me, we were done for good." Ethan's eyes reddened, his hands clenching the hem of his shirt. He stammered, "But you don't love him, do you?" Those words made Sophia's slender body go rigid. She stared blankly ahead for a few minutes, then a smile touched her lips. "I do. I love him very much." It was the first and only time I ever heard the word love from Sophia's mouth. If I were still alive, if I hadn't found out about her and Ethan, I think I would have been ecstatic. But I was dead. The place where my heart used to be felt hollow, just a dull ache. But beyond the ache, there was nothing else. No joy and no pain. Did I still love Sophia? I think that love died the moment I saw her run past me with Ethan in her arms. The lamp Sophia had turned on before she left was still glowing. Every night she came home late, I would leave that light on for her, no matter how long I had to wait. Maybe the memory hit her, because her hand trembled as she unlocked the door. When she finally got it open, she forced a smile and called out eagerly, "Leo." The only reply was the cold, silent air. The smile on her face slowly faded, and the light in her eyes died out, bit by bit. From now on, there would be no goofy guy happily greeting her at the door, taking her bag, helping her out of her coat, and reminding her to wash up for dinner. Never again. Sophia went to the liquor cabinet, grabbed another bottle, and kept drinking, going from tipsy to completely wasted. She collapsed on the sofa, calling my name over and over. "Leo, Leo." Her voice was quiet, but it sounded gut-wrenching. It was getting on my nerves. All I wanted was to figure out how to get reincarnated. I was done watching this performance of her belated devotion. After a night of heavy drinking, Sophia woke up rubbing her temples. She looked around the room, then suddenly smiled in my direction. "When did you get back?" My eyes widened. I thought she could see me. I opened my mouth to answer, but no sound came out. She didn't seem to mind. She just kept smiling. "Where have you been these past few days? I missed you so much. You must be hungry. Go rest for a bit. I'll make us some food." I just floated there, stunned, as I watched her walk toward the kitchen. As she walked, she turned her head to the side as if talking to someone. "You don't have to follow me. I'll cook. You go rest." But I hadn't moved. So, the person Sophia was seeing was just a figment of her imagination? As Sophia cooked, she kept up a steady stream of chatter with the empty air beside her. Her eyes curved in a gentle, loving arc. "Let's go on a trip. Didn't you always want to go to Provence? We got married not long after college graduation. Back then, Sophia was just a poor girl starting out. No connections, no background, just her brilliant mind and a fearless spirit as she threw herself into the business world. Life was busy and tight, so a honeymoon was out of the question. I once pointed to a picture of vast lavender fields and said to her excitedly, "Sophia, when we have money, let's go to Provence." She nodded and said okay. But later, when we did have money, we never made it to Provence. Sophia was always too busy. In just a few years, she went from a junior associate to a CEO. I saw how hard she worked, so I never brought up the honeymoon again. Hearing her mention it now brought back the image of those endless purple fields. Not being able to see them while I was alive, I guess that was one of my regrets. In the end, we never made it to Provence. You have to apply for a visa in person, and Sophia stubbornly insisted that her husband was right there with her. Ethan came to the police station to bail her out. When he heard what had happened, he stared at her in disbelief. "Sophia, don't scare me. Leo is dead." Sophia, who had been calm, shot up from her chair. Her eyes were wild and red. "What did you say? My husband is perfectly fine. I won't have you cursing him like that." I instinctively floated back a few feet. Frowning, I had to admit that Sophia's mental state really seemed to be deteriorating. Seeing her condition, the police didn't dare let her go. They kindly arranged for a consultation with a senior psychologist. The diagnosis was delusional disorder. Fortunately, the symptoms were still mild, and she wasn't prone to any extreme behavior. Sophia placed her hands on the table, her attitude firm. "Call it what you want. I don't need treatment." The middle-aged doctor adjusted his glasses. "Why not?" Sophia pressed her lips together and slowly lowered her head. The corners of her eyes were tinged with red. After a few minutes, she spoke softly. "Because this way I can see him." Sophia handed her work off to her subordinates and took a long vacation. She rarely left the house, dedicating her days to keeping me company, the me in her imagination. She started acting like me, curling up on the sofa with a bag of chips. She binged all the sappy romantic dramas I used to tell her about, the ones she'd dismissed as worthless fluff. While watching, she'd even discuss the plot with me. When it was time for dinner, she'd try her hand at cooking, making the same few dishes I always used to make for her. If she didn't know how, she'd look up tutorials online. She never realized that I always cooked based on her preferences. Those dishes, I never actually liked them. Ethan still came by often, but she refused to let him in every time. He kept trying until she finally snapped and told him to get lost. Can you just stop coming here? I don't want to make Leo unhappy. Ethan tried to grab her arm. When she dodged him, he blinked and started crying again. You can't go on like this. I'm taking you to a doctor. Sophia's face was cold. I don't need one. Know your place and stop bothering me. Ethan stood outside our door for a long time, tears streaming down his face. A truly pitiful sight. But Sophia seemed to have completely forgotten he was even there. She was still curled up on the sofa, coaxing the imaginary me in a soft, gentle voice. Leo, don't misunderstand. There's nothing going on between him and me. I'll delete all his contact information right now. Please don't be angry, okay? Her tone was almost pleading. To make me happy, the Sophia of today was willing to humble herself completely. But I could no longer tell her that it was all unnecessary. There was a time when I would have been thrilled by the slightest hint of affection from her. Now, seeing her like this only disgusted me. Her devotion had come far too late. When you're hurt too deeply, even the most profound love can be worn away to nothing. Just like mine for Sophia. Why couldn't I enter the cycle of rebirth? Why couldn't I be reincarnated? Why was I forced to stay by Sophia's side? Annoyed, I turned my head and stared out the window at Ethan. He had stopped crying. He stood there, his hands clenched into tight fists. His handsome face was slightly twisted with rage. In my previous life, I was a teacher for deaf children, so I knew a bit of lip reading. I watched his mouth form the words, clear as day. Leo, you're already dead. Why won't you just let her go? After several days of continuous rain, the sky finally cleared. I always liked to keep the house spotless and place a bouquet of fresh flowers on the living room table. Back then, my thoughts were simple: how to be a good husband, how to give her a warm and loving home. I never imagined that the last thing I'd see before my violent death would be such a heartbreaking scene. Sophia would tidy up sometimes, but she wasn't used to housework, so the place was never truly clean. After putting the blankets out to air in the sun, she decided to do a full deep clean. When she got to the locked cabinet, she frowned slightly and asked in confusion, Leo, why is this locked? In the bright sunlight, you could clearly see the tiny dust particles floating in the air. Sophia seemed to hear a response from the non-existent me, and her lips curved into a fond smile. Okay, wait a minute. I'll go find the key and we'll see what's inside. Her delusion seemed to be getting worse. The bag inside that cabinet was like Pandora's box about to be opened. I couldn't wait to see her reaction. Sophia found the key, and the cabinet door creaked open. Amidst neat stacks of awards and certificates, a dark brown men's satchel stood out. Her slender body went rigid, and the color drained from her face. A thin layer of sweat beaded on her forehead. She stood frozen for a long time before her trembling hand finally reached out and took the bag. One by one, she carefully removed the contents and placed them on the table. My phone, my wallet, my keys. Sophia completely shattered. She slowly sank to the floor, grabbing her hair and sobbing until she dry heaved. Sophia locked herself in the bedroom, like a walking corpse. She didn't eat, drink, or sleep. She just lay quietly on the bed, staring at the ceiling. Always so put together, her jawline was now terrifyingly sharp, and her clear eyes were webbed with red veins. Her clothes were a mass of wrinkles. Beside her, my phone screen was lit up, casting a soft white glow. The screen was frozen on a single text message. 3:30 p.m., First Chapter Cafe. Sophia has something for me to give you. It was my phone. She had charged it and turned it back on. That afternoon, I had indeed gone to the cafe because I received that message. I suppose even the person who sent it never expected it would cost me my life. On the third day, it was as if something in Sophia had clicked. She got up, showered, changed into fresh clothes, and tidied herself up, even styling her hair. She was thinner, and her complexion was terrible, but there was no denying she was still beautiful. Before she left, she called Ethan and told him that the biggest regret of her life was ever having been with him. The unknown number that sent me the text message was Ethan's. He didn't kill me directly, but I died because of him. As for Ethan, I couldn't forgive him. It had been over a month since I died, and this was the first time Sophia had come to my grave. She sat in silence, her back resting against my headstone. She didn't get up to leave until the sky was filled with the colors of sunset. Before she left, she gently traced the letters carved into the stone, her voice as soft and intimate as a lover's whisper. "Leo, wait for me. I'll be with you soon." She was going to kill herself? I clenched my fists, wanting to scream at her, but no sound would come out. I remember a popular, edgy quote I once saw online. "Don't cry on my grave. You'll block my path to the next life." At the time, I just thought it was melodramatic, but right now, I wanted to scream it in Sophia's face. I didn't want her to die. I wanted her to live. Whether her life was good or bad, I just wanted her to live. No love, no resentment. I just never wanted to meet her again in the next life. After returning from the cemetery, Sophia began actively seeking medical help. She told the doctor she was having terrible nightmares, that her sleep quality was awful, and that she often stayed up all night. Given her history of delusional disorder, the doctor wasn't suspicious. He prescribed her a small daily dose of sleeping pills. She was, in fact, suffering from insomnia, sometimes staying awake for nights on end. When she couldn't take it anymore, she would doze off, only to be jolted awake soon after. A few times, I saw her clutching her chest, curled up on the floor. Her heart was probably giving out from the chronic lack of sleep. Even so, she never took a single pill. Instead, she found a small, clear bottle to store them in. Every night, she would hold the little bottle up to the light and study it carefully. I heard her whisper, "Leo, just wait a little longer. Once I have enough, we can be together." When the little white pills had filled more than half the bottle, something unexpected happened. The day started like any other. Sophia lay with her eyes open until dawn. When the alarm went off, she mechanically got up, washed her face, and made food. She was getting thinner and thinner, almost skeletal. She was still wearing the clothes I bought her, which now swamped her frame. Suddenly, a frantic pounding came from the front door. The moment she opened it, a disheveled Ethan lunged at her, trying to attack her. "Sophia, you bitch! Why would you do this to me?" Sophia pushed him away and looked up at him, her eyes filled with an unyielding hatred. "Why? You don't know why? If it weren't for you, my husband wouldn't be dead, and you have the nerve to ask me why. Why wasn't it you who died?" Under her glare, Ethan's large frame began to tremble. He tried to explain. "It wasn't like that, Sophia. Believe me, I didn't know there would be an accident. Please, forgive me. I won't blame you for what happened this time. Let's just call it even, okay? I still love you, Sophia. Let's give us another chance." Hearing his words, a mocking smile twisted Sophia's lips. She took a step back and gently brushed at the spot on her clothes where Ethan had touched her, as if brushing off something filthy. "Call it even? What makes you think you get to live happily ever after when my husband is dead?" Ethan was taken away by the police, and Sophia was brought in for questioning as well. With no evidence, they had to let her go. On her way home, she was passing a river when she heard a commotion and someone shouting for help. A figure was flailing in the water. Without a second thought, Sophia dove in. In the river was a young woman about my age. Terrified of drowning, she struggled wildly even after Sophia grabbed her. As her pale hand thrashed about, she accidentally tore off a small pouch hanging around her neck. A good luck charm and a lock of black hair floated out. I had gone to great lengths to get that charm for Sophia. The lock of hair was mine, said to bind us for this life. They said it was very powerful. The woman's struggles grew weaker. A white light flashed before my eyes, and my ethereal soul was sucked in by a powerful force. When I opened my eyes again, I was being dragged to shore by Sophia. As we neared the shallows, she let go, gave me a hard shove forward, and with a look of release on her face, her body began to sink. She was trying to die. I reacted instantly and grabbed her hand. Luckily, another Good Samaritan jumped in to help, and together we pulled Sophia onto the bank. I was reborn in the body of Chloe, the young woman Sophia had just saved. I realized the reason I could never leave Sophia's side was because of that charm and that lock of my hair. And I could possess this woman's body now because the pouch had opened just before she drowned. It really was powerful. On the riverbank, Sophia sat beside me, gasping for air. Looking at her, in that one instant, it felt like all the love and hate from the past had just vanished. I tilted my head and thanked her. "Thank you, Sophia." She frowned, confused. "How do you know my name?" I thought for a moment, then smiled. "When I was about to die just now, I saw a man. He told me." Sophia suddenly turned and grabbed my shoulders, her voice trembling with emotion. What else did he tell you?" "He said he doesn't want to meet you in the next life, and that you should live a good life." She let her hands fall away, a bitter smile on her face. "He still won't forgive me." I didn't explain. I just thanked her again and left. I saw Sophia again in a lavender field in Provence. We stood facing each other amidst the vast sea of purple flowers. She always had an excellent memory, but I was still surprised she remembered a face she had only seen once. She was still painfully thin, the sharp angles of her cheekbones a stark reminder of the vibrant woman she used to be. She gave me a slight nod. "Fancy meeting you here." I managed a polite smile in return. Yes, what a coincidence. A breeze swept through, sending ripples across the sea of flowers. We walked past each other, going our separate ways. Epilogue. When Leo called my name, I panicked. I never imagined that the very next second, I would watch him die right in front of me. That massive concrete pillar, it must have hurt so much. My Leo hated pain. A simple paper cut was enough to make him frown and demand I kiss it better. I desperately tried to dig him out of the rubble. What if the pillar had just missed him? What if he... But reality delivered a devastating blow. There were no what ifs. After my parents died, I still had Leo. But now he was gone too. Leo was dead. And it wasn't a peaceful death. If he knew how he looked, my handsome, always neat Leo would have been so upset. I thought all I felt for him was gratitude, a familial bond. But after he died, I realized it wasn't that simple. I don't even remember the last time I cried. But looking at Leo's body, I just couldn't stop. It hurt. It hurt so much, but no amount of pain could bring him back. I forced myself to be calm. Calmly arranged the funeral, the burial. Calmly locked his belongings away in a cabinet. I went to work as usual, lived my life as usual. I tried to keep myself busy. So busy that I wouldn't have time to think about Leo. I thought I could get through it. The intense workload caused me to collapse. But I knew it wasn't just the work. I just missed him too much. Missed him until my heart ached. After I recovered, the fact of Leo's death became blurry. Maybe my subconscious just refused to accept it. I kept texting him, calling him, but it was all met with silence. I couldn't find him, no matter how hard I tried. He loved me so much. How could he just leave me? I didn't find Leo, but Ethan found me. He brought me breakfast. The bracelet on his wrist, Leo had one just like it. A while back, Ethan had asked me to go shopping with him to pick out an outfit for the reunion. I remembered Leo's birthday was coming up, so I agreed. When I saw that bracelet, I thought it would look so handsome on Leo's wrist. I bought it without a second thought. I never expected Ethan would buy one for himself too. Ethan contacted me after he came back to the country. He said a few of our close friends from college were organizing a reunion and asked if I wanted to go. I said yes, only because I wanted to prove to them how happy I was. For a long time after, I regretted that decision. If I had just been firm and refused him, then would my home still be intact? Would Leo and I have had 2 children who would call me mom and him dad? Just thinking about it feels like a dream. The reunion was boring. They even tried to set me up with Ethan. How ridiculous. I already had Leo, and my Leo was 1,000 times better than Ethan. It's just that he seemed to be in a mood lately, running away from home where I couldn't find him. It was so frustrating. Feeling tipsy, I paid the bill and left. Ethan ran out and confessed his feelings for me. When I rejected him, he said that I didn't love Leo. Didn't I love him? A sharp pain shot through my heart. No, that's wrong. I do love him. I love him so much. Yes, I love him. What a fool I've been. To only realize now, after all this time, how deeply my feelings for Leo had grown. I wanted to tell him right then, to shout it out loud. I love you so much, but when would he come home? After a night of drinking, my Leo came back. He was a little pouty, telling me he was hungry. I wanted to ask him where he'd been, but I decided against it. As long as he was back, that was all that mattered. As long as he was by my side. We decided to go on a trip, but we ran into trouble at the visa office. They detained me and even brought in a psychologist who said I had mild delusional disorder. Leo looked so sad. He tugged on my sleeve, his eyes filled with helplessness, and asked if I was going to leave him. How could I? He was my precious treasure, the one I had finally found again. I refused the doctor's suggestion for treatment. They could say what they wanted, all I needed was Leo. After we got home, Leo became even clingier. He wanted me to watch shows with him, to cook for him. He had never been demanding before, he was always so considerate. His occasional little tantrums now were actually quite cute. If I could do it all over again, I would never have opened that cabinet. It was all Ethan's fault. Yes, all of it. If it weren't for his text, Leo would never have gone to that cafe, and he certainly wouldn't have died. How could he still be alive and well? I wanted to be with Leo, but before I left, I had to make Ethan pay. I began to plan my death and Ethan's ruin. After my revenge on Ethan was complete, it was time for me to say goodbye to this world. It's a good feeling. I'll get to see my Leo soon. Perhaps it was fate. When I was trying to die, I saved a young woman. As I was pulling her to shore, I thought that drowning might not be a bad way to go. But I didn't die. The woman said she had seen Leo, that he wanted me to live. The way her eyes blinked, for a moment, I saw the Leo from years ago. Fine. I'll live, just as he wished. Ethan was diagnosed. His mind was completely shattered. After I heard the news, I went to Provence alone. I never expected to run into the woman I had saved. She gave me a quiet greeting, and then we went our separate ways. In the warm breeze, for a fleeting moment as we passed, I thought I smelled Leo's scent mixed in with the lavender. I still miss him so much. I don't think I can hold on much longer. Back home, I took out the bottle of sleeping pills. It had been full for a long time. I took a shower, got ready, and put on the suit I wore on our wedding day. Once everything was perfect, I lay down on the bed and opened the bottle. Leo, I'm sorry. I didn't listen to you. If there is a next life, I want to meet you again. This time, let me be the one to love you first.